to turn over the meeting to Member Herrada for a press conference that she has scheduled. So if there are members of the press, would you come on the stage? If there are any members of the media, would you please come on stage?
Detroit Public School Board members would like to express that we oppose the legislation. We oppose being split into separate and unequal districts outside of the rest of the state. We most importantly oppose the fact that our children will be relegated to a lesser education by way of less credentialed teachers. We have no intention of standing down. We understand that there will be elections for board members as if we don't exist. We intend to run for our seats. We will stay in our seats until we're removed, and we will run for the seats as they come open. Whatever configuration the state and the nonprofits and Skillman come up with, we will remain in place. We have no intention of abandoning the children and parents of Detroit. We have no intention of accepting separate and unequal. We have no intention of allowing Judge Rhodes to legally oversee the resegregation of Detroit Public Schools. Thank you.
And it is our feeling that this is discriminatory, and again, like Member Herrada said, we will fight this till the end, because under federal law, they've violated federal law, and we believe that we will win, and we're looking to get an injunction to stop the governor from proceeding with this unethical and irresponsible and undemocratic legislation that they're trying to impose upon Detroit kids. We will not let them do it to our kids, because that is apartheid and genocide. Amen. And we refuse to let it happen.
Amen. We intend to offer the resolution today to for an injunction to prevent the law just passed, and we expect to be signed into law sometime as early as perhaps as early as tomorrow. I believe that this is a violation of the state's constitution under Headley. Secondly, we believe it is a violation, in fact, we know it's a violation of the local acts provision of the Michigan Constitution. The legislation passed with a simple majority, in fact, a one-vote majority in both chambers. According to the Michigan Constitution, it requires, a local act requires a 2/3 majority in both chambers in order for a local act to take place. It is thinly veiled by calling the DPS district a qualifying district. And DPS is the only, and potentially, even potentially, could only be the only district that this law could affect. And therefore, it requires a 2/3 majority in both chambers. So we believe, in fact, we know that the state has violated its own constitution. Finally, we believe that it is a breach of contract between the citizens and the bonds that were issued on behalf of the citizens, because the parameters of those bonds have now changed. So they've changed the parameters of the contract. That too is a violation of contract law. We were structured the agreement between the taxpayers and their elected representatives has been violated not only by this law, but by the actions of the state. And so without a vote of the people or vote of their duly elected representatives, they are clearly violating contract law. Additionally, we find that the transference of the Detroit Public Schools real estate, property, and assets to any other entity or district without a vote of the electorate or their duly elected representative of the such as the Detroit Board of Education is also a violation. These properties do not belong to the state. They belong to the taxpayers of the city of Detroit exclusively. The state is imposing a de facto bankruptcy on the citizens of the city of Detroit without the normal due process and oversight of a bankruptcy court. And so those are some of the violations that we see with this legislation as adopted and what we anticipate being signed. So both federal and state law has been violated, and that would go also in conjunction with the class action lawsuit to which we already have in the process pending in court. We will now entertain questions from the media or other persons after the media, other persons in the audience. Kirk, it's your show.
Kirk Ayed, a reporter for the ACLU of Michigan. I was wondering if you have any idea at this point how this action by the legislature might affect the forensic audit that you've been discussing with EM Rhodes.
Well, we hope that the audit would proceed, but at this point, the contracts have not been signed. So we would hope that Judge Rhodes would be a man of his word and would continue with this audit. It does affect the mandatory committee. Well, we had a committee setting structure, so now that committee serves totally at the pleasure of Judge Rhodes, who now will no longer be the emergency manager when this law is passed, but will be the so-called transitional manager, which is a euphemism for local dictator or local temporary dictator. We are transferring, which is another thing that needs to be contested in court, because the transitional manager is acting with the complete authority of the elected board, and has all the authority of an elected body. So they've imposed a dictator, and that they are temporarily dissolving the district until these other entities can be created. And so this is a coup d'etat by the state of Michigan over the local governance of the city of Detroit, while we still are required to pay the taxes for a school district that we do not control and enjoy, and as other members have referenced, that it's taxation without representation, that it's a violation of Civil Rights Act, that it's a violation, that it's unjust.
In addition, we're looking to move forward with that forensic audit because we're looking to file this injunction and get injunctive relief from federal court that will allow us to proceed.
Let me say this too, this is unprecedented.
Yes.
And so this is, from our perspective, it is the largest cover-up in the history of the state of Michigan, because they're going to try to sweep it under the rug, all the injustices that they've done that have occurred under emergency management and reform CEO and emergency financial manager. They're going to just sweep it all under the rug all this massive pilfering of billions, cumulatively billions of dollars from the district.
That's why they don't want that forensic
And so they
audit.
want to dissolve the district, and even before they dissolve the district, they intend to put in a sole, the district doesn't exist. The transitional manager reports and serves at the pleasure of the governor. And so therefore the governor is also taking academic control, not just financial control, academic control. And under the state constitution, it is the State Board of Education and the Superintendent of Instruction that has those responsibilities at the state level. Any questions from the audience? Almost said member Moore.
Thank you. It's not on, I'll just talk loud. In doing some research, put in your head insufficient remedy. I've been told that they had to rush to judgment last night because they are aware of your filing of the federal lawsuit. And in legal terms, they can propose that they solve the issue. And you have to look ahead. I sort of jumped ahead of all what you said. And we have an insufficient remedy here. They know that their books show that they owe over $2 billion back to us during the emergency manager period and the takeover of the appointed board. And so when they throw out the 700 or 15 or 6, whatever it is, in the bills, they know it's not enough. And they know by next year we'll be in the same situation, but you all will be blamed for the crimes that they committed. Now that's obvious. So I think you ought to look at this in a way to get complete justice for our children. Because what they have proposed, and that's what they're going to say in court, we remedied this situation and we present all these bills. And you're going to have to say it was insufficient and you knew it by the books that you had and you didn't share it with the public. Even when we went to Lansing, they had several different accountants come forth and each of them, if you look at the records, said something different about the books. So we're in this struggle together. And you got to be careful now when you go to judges that none of the bills proposed we were for, because we were wise enough to know that they would not solve the issue. All of us stood together on it. Different people and different unions took different stands. We like 710, we like 711, we don't like the Senate, we don't like the House. We said, give us our money back that you stole. We said, give us our democracy back, and all this other stuff we will deal with for our children. So, don't get in the bed with any of them, and I'm really proud of the board for sticking to its gun. And I'm actually proud of the legislators because I think they were fearful that they would end up in the situation of John and Lumba because it's election time. So they all did stick together. So we have to say something good about them too, okay? But remember, insufficient remedy. None of this has resolved the problems that they made. Okay.
To respond on the issue of representation in legislatures. I live in District 6, Legislative District 6, and I represent District 2. And both my state representative and my city council representative have been colluding with Skillman for years to take over the schools. Stephanie Chang was represented on her literature that she was put up by Excellent Schools Detroit. And as you know, you were at the board meeting when Raquel Castaneda Lopez came from the Detroit City Council and expressed her support for the DEC. Both of them have really been supported by Skillman and Southwest Solutions, who have exponential contracts in the schools and have a great deal to gain by maintaining those contracts. They know that they don't have to get vetted, they don't have to go before an elected school board, and they can outbid anybody they want to. They don't have to say what they're doing, and they can have majority white directors and boards of directors. They don't have to follow any kinds of rules with regard to discrimination or any other kind of vetting for the schools. Some of the schools get art and music under this configuration and others do not. Southwest Detroit has been highly favored by Skillman. Therefore, they don't mind the fact that we are disenfranchised. So I want to go on the record as saying I am proud of our legislators for finally doing something, but I also want to say that I am not proud of my state representative and my city council person who have deliberately and openly undermined the elected school board.
We'll now bring, we never even called it. The press conference is now officially over.